Have you ever seen some really beautiful furniture in the thrift shop, but decided not to buy it because it had some damage or missing veneer? Well, thankfully, my friend did not pass up these chairs. She bought them for $20 each and brought them to me and said, Carmen, please help me fix these. So I'm going to show you what I did and how you could do the same at home. First thing I did is I decided not to sand them down because I didn't want to take the chairs apart. So I pulled out my old trick of using acetone to remove the existing finish. I put gloves on to protect my skin, and I grabbed some steel wool and some acetone and just wiped that old finish off, doing both the front and the backs. Then I grabbed a sanding block and just very gently sanded the furniture. I wasn't trying to remove the color or sand down to bare wood. I just wanted to smooth some of the edges where there was damage and get them ready for me to refinish. For the missing pieces, I'm using this product called Quickwood. Now this is a 2-part epoxy resin. If you've watched my videos, welcome back. You've probably seen me use this before. But what you do is you cut off about the piece that you think you'll need. You can see the 2 different colors, and then you mix it together until the colors are fully blended. That activates the ingredients so that it will harden and dry and become paintable and stainable. So once I get this mixed, I'll show you how I'm going to use it to fill in those big missing chunks of veneer on the back of this chair. I do recommend using gloves to keep the chemicals off, but I was really struggling that day with the gloves, so don't tell anybody. But what I did is I took little bits of the Quickwood and almost like Play-Doh, I rolled them into pieces and began pressing them down in the areas of the missing wood. You can see there I'm just trying to get them, the little gaps filled in, and pressing the Quickwood epoxy down as even to the surface of the wood as possible. And I'm going to do that to fill in all 4 of these missing pieces of wood. You don't have to work too quickly with this product. It doesn't dry real fast. But for some reason I was having a hard time getting it to stick, so I had to kind of put a little bit more pressure and kind of rub it into the chair to get it to stick in place. Just be patient, work slowly, and you're going to sand it once it's dried, so you don't have to worry about it being perfectly smooth. I kind of changed angles here so you can see the entire back of the chair and what it looks like. It does have some little missing chips along the edge to there, so as well as those 4 big areas, I'm just applying little bits to the top edge of the chair, which I will then sand smooth before we do some color correction. This chair really needed a lot of work. Once I get all these little areas filled in, then I'll go and I'll get a larger piece of the Quickwood and I'll fill in that really big area of missing veneer. So I kind of roll it into a little tube here and then just stick it in where the wood veneer is missing. Once again, the smoother I can get it, the easier it's going to be to sand it. But of course, working conditions, heat, humidity, all play a role in the products that you're using. And as I mentioned before, I was having a little bit of difficulty getting it to stick that day. Once it dried, generally I wait overnight or sometimes a couple days, I was able to go in with a sanding block and some 120 grit sandpaper and sand the area smooth so that the areas that I had applied the Quickwood were flush with the natural wood of the chair. Once the entire chair was sanded and I had thoroughly cleaned it, I then applied a stain. I went ahead and used an oil-based stain so it would absorb into the wood, and I carefully applied it to the seats, top and bottom, and the backs, front and back. I wanted to keep this in the same color family, but I definitely wanted it to have a little bit more of a darker, rich tone like it probably had when it was original. Now, it had these little rubber accents on the seat. I was worried that those would break if I took them apart, so you'll notice I'm just kind of going over and around them really carefully with the stain, and I'll do the same thing when I put polyurethane. Now it's time to do some color correcting. So you can see even after I stained it, the quick wood is very pale in comparison to the wood of the chair. So I got out my wood paint kit and blended some colors to try to get that same color. And I'm just going in with a little paintbrush. Sorry about my really bad camera angle here, but I'm going in with a paintbrush and I'm just painting right over that wood epoxy. First thing I want to do is just try to get a color match, and then once I get pretty close color match, then I'll start using some multiple colors to blend, add some wood grain to it, and really try to make this area that I have gone in and fixed just disappear with the back of the chair. It's got a little bit of a lighter color here because it was looking a little bit too much of dark orange. And you can see I just paint it right on there. Sometimes it helps to gently overlap the edge just a little bit, especially when I do the finishing touches. I do keep a paper towel and a little bit of water handy because these paints do dry extremely fast. It's never going to look too good the first time you do it, so just trust the process. Now I'm just going to let this dry, and then the next day I'll put it in some bright light and see how we did. It is important that you use as close to natural light as possible. Okay, so it's looking pretty good. So now what I'm doing is I'm using some colored pencils, and I'm coming in and I'm just very gently using a black to extend the natural wood grain of the chair into the areas that I painted. This is what's going to help deceive the eye and make it look like it's a continuous pattern instead of patched. With the light right now on it, you can still see some areas are a little bit dark orange, so I'm going to come in with a little bit lighter pencil, and I'm going to go over some of those areas and kind of blend where they stop and start to tone down that orange a little bit and make the transitions less obvious. This is really all about trial and error. I wish there was a specific formula I could give you, but you really just have to be comfortable trying it. Worst case scenario, you just sand it back off and do it again. I did purchase a can of toner. Toner is a very thin stain, typically mixed with like a lacquer that you can spray on to help blend where you have different colors merging, or if you're trying to correct any splotchiness. So I did use the toner over the whole chair. I used this little piece of foam here to protect the metal and the rubber parts, and unfortunately I didn't film when I sprayed the back, so you'll just have to trust that I did the same process on the front and the back of the chair as well. Make sure you always wear a respirator when using toner. It is very strong smelling and you don't want to damage your lungs. Alright, our final step is to apply a polyurethane top coat. Now I am using a water-based polyurethane. Normally you probably hear, well, water and oil don't mix. Well, yes, that is true, but you can put a water-based polyurethane over an oil-based stain as long as you make sure that the stain is thoroughly dried. So I actually let this dry for 5 days before I came in to do my polyurethane. I like to use a foam brush. I follow the direction of the grain. I'll put on 1 coat of it, let it dry. Just use like a 400 grit sanding pad and very gently sand it, and then go in and do my next coat. With these chairs, I kind of had to be careful to navigate around the little rubber parts that I was unable to take apart. But this is going to give it a really nice protective finish, and I'm using warm satin so it'll have a little bit of a shine. So here's what it's looking like. Actually, this is what they look like when they showed up in my garage. So you can see the fade, the scratch, the splotchiness. They had been well loved by whoever had them before. And here's what they look like now. Look at that gorgeous wood tone. These are so cute, and most importantly, all of the missing veneer has been fixed. Here's the worst chair, and here's what it looks like now. Yes, if you inspect it very closely, you can tell it's been repaired, but if you're just walking by it or visiting my friend's house, you will never notice, and most importantly, they were thrilled with the outcomes. So I hope next time you see something cute but damaged in your thrift store, you'll give it a chance and you'll try this technique. Happy furniture flipping!